What's up, guys? This is Wilson coming at you. Welcome to the Movement, the Shepherds of Men podcast. I am Wilson again, sitting here with O, Cam, and JP. And we're pumped to come to you today. We're just going to kind of free ball it, if you will, in a sense of just kind of whatever's on our minds today, and no agenda. I do have a couple of topics I do want to talk about because some of our listeners had sent in some requests about certain things, and definitely want to bring that up because I did have some really good thoughts about it. But just before we get started, man, how's y'all's week been? What you guys have been into? And let's talk about that. Everybody knows what you're listening to if you don't know by now. And if somebody hadn't told you, we're going to tell truth and speak truth. What we believe is truth. You can accept it or reject it. It's on you. But we believe that that's the impact that we're trying to make. So listen at your free will, and whoever wants to talk first about their week, let's go.
Apparently.
Yeah, free ball.
I don't even know. I'm pumped about this because I think it's gonna be a fun episode.
Oh,
I really think it's gonna be fun. I just want to encourage everybody before we get into it because I have no idea what direction it's gonna go, other than it's gonna be entertaining and probably hit some sensitive points at some point, I'm sure. And I know none of us are going to hold back on that, but I would like to say, appreciate everybody because we have really just seen a lot of traction with what's going on with the movement podcast and just the Shepherds of Men mission as a whole, and it's amazing. And just thank you guys for following and for listening and for referring other people. And I know we're just constantly getting more and more followers, and that's not what it's about, other than we believe that as we continue to build this platform, we can have more of an impact for what we really see us accomplishing here with you guys together. So it's awesome. So check out the socials, check out the website, book requests and all that kind of stuff, and appreciate the feedback because that's why we're doing what we're doing right now. We're going to talk about what y'all want to hear. Yeah. So good week. Family's great. Been doing a lot of stuff. New house, new businesses, new everything all the time. It's exciting times. No dull moments around the Brown house. So,
what can Brown do for you?
Yeah, exactly. You have no idea.
Yeah. And just to add on to what you said, I appreciate the people that are out there taking the initiative to grow. Yep. Because of what they're hearing on this. That's the whole goal for us, is to make better men or inspire men to become better men. I can't make you a better man. I can turn the light on. But that's about all I can do for you. The rest of it's got to be done by you. What's cool is I've got feedback from several people that I've spoke to that follow what we're doing. They've really enjoyed it, but have taken action. And that's the biggest thing. If you've listened to it, I think what's really cool is the people that take action are growing, and you can see the growth in their lives. But we're so bombarded, and if you hop on Facebook for 5 minutes, you see motivational quotes here and there, and everybody's got something like do this in your life and blah blah blah. So maybe separating yourself from the rest of that noise is just to take action on it. The stuff is good. I'm not saying it's not good, motivational quotes and stuff like that, but maybe embody it, take action on it, and actually see if it works. Apply it to your life. So me too. Good week. Kind of hot shot. Been back and forth to Florida the past couple weeks a couple times, so it was nice and warm. Actually, no, take that back. So I'm flying on the way down to Orlando Wednesday, and the pilot says, well, it's sunny, clear skies, like a balmy 36 degrees or whatever. And I pulled out my phone and checked my ticket.
Florida in America. That Florida. Wrong Florida.
Yeah. I was like, did I book the right flight? I seriously thought I might have been flying somewhere else. But sure enough, it was 36 degrees and stuff. And dude, iguanas were falling out of the trees.
That's right. They were like freezing.
Yeah, they'll freeze.
They freeze or whatever.
Crazy. Yeah. It's like manta from the sky.
Isn't that crazy?
Side note, my wife told me about a story.
This was my section.
God. But on the iguana,
wow.
I'll go back to
Don't
that.
ask me questions if you don't
you
want
guys go and interrupt and everything, and I can't get my words in, so I'm next. Go.
Okay. So you interrupted me just to tell me you're next.
No, I'm saying about the iguanas. Did you see? No. Did you see the story about the dude wrecking because he grabbed a couple of the lizards and put them in his back seat, and then while they warmed up, they thawed out and came and got all over him and stuff. Yeah, he wrecked. It was funny. You mentioned that, and I was like, the first story.
So
that came
necessary for us to do what we do.
Yep. So
funny.
the locals, it was funny because the locals are just down there. They're like, Florida's shut down. We're all looking for our sweaters, so don't ask for anything out of Florida right now. But it was just funny, like, because I didn't even think about that. We're down there and it's like 36 degrees. I'm like, it's cold for down here, but for them that's a big deal apparently. Yeah. Like these iguanas are like dead, falling out of trees. But they're like, all like, hey, get the grills ready and stuff like that. And I was like, hold on, wait a minute, dude, what?
Grill iguanas?
The locals? Yeah, they're talking about cooking the iguanas. I'm like, oh my gosh, that doesn't even sound appealing.
I mean, I've heard of oranges in Florida, but I don't know about grilled iguana.
Yeah. So, little man's growing like a weed. He's over a month old now, so actually over 6 weeks old now. So still not really sleeping. So learning to
Go get there.
learning to survive off of a little sleep, but it's all good.
You're so selfish, Josh.
I know, and to be honest with you, but it's just like we were talking about. Like our wives are so tough, mentally tough and stuff. She just gets up throughout the night. Every couple hours, she gets up and takes care of business and stuff like that. And you said something, in the last episode about how our women are tough and at times tougher than us. And the first thing that my mind went to was getting sick. I'm such a baby when I'm sick.
Oh yeah, dude.
Dude, I'm dying. Like my nose is running or something like that, and you'd think that I'm dying. My wife will have the flu and she'll be taking care of the kids. I'm like,
so true.
I cannot complain. But good stuff, man. Like Cameron said, obviously things are coming together. Good business, opportunities, families growing, everything's duplicating, and it's just a product of the work that's put in behind the scenes. So awesome.
I think my last week has really been about clearing the mechanism, not being complacent, getting back into personal development on a whole new level. I've kind of let off the gas there for a minute, just at a career level, not so much in my own personal development, but I think I need to turn it up. I think I'm ready for the next level, which is why I became so complacent in what I normally do. So last week has really been about remembering my alignment as far as what I'm trying to build and the vision that I've created for myself, and just kind of turning things up a bit.
Turned up.
Yeah, getting turned. So not just in the club on a Tuesday.
He's going up.
Yeah,
on a Tuesday.
So with your research and everything you've done as far as your personal growth and books and things of that nature, have you found any that are good about that have to do with like respect and not interrupting people that I could suggest to Wilson?
Oh yeah,
you would go there.
I think there's actually
dude. Sometimes I'm over here going, I want to say something and I don't want to interrupt, but I was like, that one is good. It's funny.
You shut up. I got to talk about these iguanas.
That was hilarious. I don't usually have a lot of funny things.
That's important.
Hey, you did mention iguana, so But,
you're right, but I didn't ask you about iguanas.
Right.
You guys are so cute.
Well, sorry.
I'm just messing with you, dude. I'm just giving you a hard
As much as we talk about discipline.
You would think.
You'd have more discipline.
I don't have much discipline when it comes down to it. That's why I have to have someone like you in my life to go, hey, get your ass in the gym.
Right.
So
I believe the term would be Josh is in shape and Wilson is shape.
I'm shape. I'm a round shape.
A shape.
Man.
Happy
For now.
round shape.
For now.
I got
Getting personal now.
Yeah. He's gonna be a monster though. Give him another year. We're gonna be hitting this
Dude,
CrossFit stuff, and he's gonna be like jacked.
When I was younger, I enjoyed it. Like, I don't know why I got out of it. I guess life just got busy and just any excuse will do. But it just wasn't. I got complacent, really, and I was like at the point. I still have the mindset. Like I know what I did, and I know I'm like when I come in there, I'm like I'm about to kill this thing, and then my body's like, nope, no, you ain't.
Not today, you ain't.
Not today.
Hold up.
So, and then that's where I go to beat myself up in a sense of like, you're freaking better than this. Why are you doing this? And it's not necessarily. Well, I guess it is a lot that I eat. I mean, because if we go on a diet, keto worked really well for me. We lost, 30 plus pounds, and I looked really good and felt great. So we're just gonna get back to that. I got on a sweet high from holidays, and man, I just can't. I'm not wanting. My body keeps wanting it, and I'm like, no, I gotta
Does
stop.
that go back to what we were talking about last episode, where the commas are important? You got on a sweet high or like a sweet high?
Yeah.
Oh,
you were high on sweets.
I was high on sweets.
Okay.
Punctuation
Treats.
is incredible.
Punctuation.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
I don't even know if that would.
Yeah, and I'm the worst at that. I have to have Cam always correct everything that I have to say.
That is true.
So-
If anybody reads anything, typically if it's from Wilson, it got edited by me.
Proofread.
So, yeah.
I'm not allowed to send anything. I'm like Trump on Twitter. You're not allowed to be on it.
And I promise you,
Get
there's
off
still
that
mistakes, so don't bust his chops. Just bring it to me. O and JP edit their own stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So this week's been good. A lot of just kind of searching for what I wanted to talk about. That's why I kind of wanted to have it just kind of what I like to call free ball. Just kind of say whatever's on your mind.
I can't get the Tom Petty song out of my head.
So, but yeah, no, I mean, we went to a CrossFit facility. For the life of me, I can't remember the name of it, but
CrossFit Rutherford.
Yeah, and Jennifer, who owns it, was really cool, really nice, accepting us to come in and work out. We've never done the CrossFit scene before, and I learned some things and figured out that I need to know when to kind of sit back a little bit before I hurt myself, because I was pushing myself pretty hard, and by the third set, she was like coming over there, like, all right, you need to take a break. So put me on one of those bicycles. I don't know how somebody could cycle for fun.
The Pelotons,
dude. The freaking seat, man, that's like not comfortable at all. I guess you're not on the seat.
And that's crazy, man, because you got a lot of ass. So I would imagine that wouldn't be that.
That might be why it's not comfortable. It's just kind of right.
No, it just splits it, and it's like there, like bone.
Like, that's a picture I thought I'd never had. Yes, now I never want it.
Yeah, he's got a dot in the pad where his butt bone was like poking down.
Seriously,
oh my gosh!
Man?
Did y'all see? I saw something, and I'm not a big forward a bunch of stuff on social media, but the one with the dude's like bouncing on the chair. Did y'all see that? The dude's like bouncing on an office chair, like going in circles, and then it breaks, and the pole comes through it.
Are you serious?
Oh my gosh! And he gets up, and it's like, I mean, it impaled him. Like it had to. It was like a foot.
Oh my god!
I'm glad you didn't share that.
That would hurt.
I couldn't. I hurt in all kinds of ways, like emotionally.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
You feel for the guy. I did see that, and I was
like, like, I mean,
who in the world would have thought that would happen? You know what I mean?
Oh well, obviously not him.
Holy crap! Yeah,
it's like the hydraulic.
Oh yeah,
or something just released.
Oh jeez!
And there's just that moment where he just sit there, and then it hits him. He's like, oh!
And then you're like, it just happened. Like I never thought that would be a part of my life.
Well, I guess it's better than if he would have sat there for a second and then started bouncing again.
Oh, so what are we going to talk about today, Wilson?
You would go there. Oh god!
I think the biggest thing that hurt that CrossFit thing was pride. After that girl that was up front, man, dude, this girl was like doing these 5 rounds, and she was power cleaning. I think she had 135 pounds on there, and she was doing hang cleans with 135 pounds.
And she was like just a little bit taller than my wife. Like she's petite.
Yeah.
She was small.
And as a woman, if you can squat 135 pounds, that's pretty impressive. I mean, that's a plate on each side, on an Olympic bar. And this girl was like hang cleaning with it, and this was after box jumps and jump ropes and doing the kettlebells. Yeah. My God, the kettlebells! I
love kettlebells.
Kettlebells, man, they were tough.
They about killed me, but it's just a different kind of movement.
Yep.
So it's awesome. But we've talked about it before. You get comfortable. It's time to move on to something else. I mean,
yeah, I'm looking forward to working out with you in that regard on a regular basis. I mean, I would love to have somebody else up here doing the same, but
says that now.
Right.
Dude, no, I mean, you and I worked out with him before. Sure. Yeah, you go work out with JP, and he's going to hurt you. You're going to come out like sore as all get out.
I've never been so nauseous in my life after leg day with JP.
Dude, we did the leg. Okay, so I did the upper body with him, and he's doing these pull-ups and stuff, and I'm like, I'd be good to have one. He's got like 30 reps in, and just to add the extra like whatever, he puts like weights between his junk on
Wilson,
a bill. Yeah, and he's pulling like 2 or 3 body weights of him. Dude, I'm like, all right, you suck. That's what I said, but I mean, it had a lot of growth. Like I got a lot of room to grow. And then, freaking spotting you with the dumbbell over your head, the heaviest one. I'm struggling just to get the shit over to him. And then all of a sudden he grabs it and he's like,
Are you sure you want me to spot you?
Yeah. I'm like, dude, if you let go of this, I'm flipping over.
Yeah.
Like I'm done. Yeah. I'm one of those guys. It's like I'm the spotter supposed to help this dude. Just drop it. Roll it down your body.
For sure.
But no, there's a few things that I do want to talk about. That one of our listeners, Dylan, reached out to me about relationships in general, and just kind of dive into some of these topics. Really bit about just basically our men's responsibility in a marriage or relationships, and just in general. And one thing that actually 2 things I want to talk about, and just kind of, this is to the men. Men, it's your responsibility to be a leader and provider for your house. We are designed to be at the forefront, taking all the heavy stuff that life throws at us, all the while being a velvet-covered brick. If you haven't read that book or listened to something with John C. Maxwell, Red Covered Brick is awesome. We are smooth and gentle to the touch, but solid to the core. Men, we are the cornerstones of our family. We are the atlases holding everything together in our world upright. What our family becomes is determined by how we lead.
That's for sure.
And then talking about some additional things with like a relationship, the question was, and what he was like, there's this 50-50 rule or 100-100 rule in a relationship. And the 50-50 meaning you give half and then the other partner gives half and then now you have a whole, is that type of mentality. Then the other one is 100%. No, you give 100%, I give 100%, and now we have a great relationship, which I'm more heir to that. Like I think that each person in whatever relationship, it could be marriage, it could be your friendship, it could be business, it could be whatever that you put into it. But then I want to take that to the next level, and this is a totally different thought process. And in these type of arenas, now you don't want to do this on a business venture and do 100% and expect nothing. Obviously, you go into business to make money, so that this part doesn't pertain to that, or pertain to that, I should say. So. Yeah, so in The Compound Effect, the book Darren Harding wrote, he did mention something in relationships, and especially in marriages, that you as a man should come in, or as an individual should come in at 100% zero, expecting zero in return. When you think about that, and it hit heavy on me. Like I've never thought like, well, I'm going to go do all of these things and then expect zero return. No, I do these things because I want a return. I want something back. And what's your thoughts about this topic that I just brought up?
Well, I think there's validity to all of those stances, probably the least of which is the 50-50, because, I don't know, it just sounds kind of lame. But
so lukewarm.
It is. I spit you out of my mouth.
Yeah.
At 100-100, I get. I mean, I think it sounds awesome. Certainly, I believe that could be a really solid relationship if everybody's given 100%. And the 100-0, I think it depends on your perspective of that. Is how you look at it. Like I can see for sure being like, okay, I'm going to give 100. I'm expecting 0. But I think it's more of what is my mentality of giving the 100 than what do I actually want back. Relationships are give and take, So if it's a marriage relationship, for sure you're not going to be fulfilled if you're not receiving anything from that relationship. I mean, it's gonna wear on you, but. So I don't that part of it I don't get. I wouldn't say like, yeah, you should always be 100, and if they're always 0, it's okay. I don't think that's true. But I think you should approach your 100 with an expectation of I'm not doing it to get. I'm just doing it because that's my responsibility.
And that's exactly what
and I expect the other person to have the same mentality back.
That's
right?
perfect.
So
thank you for
the first thing that I think of is people taking selfies with homeless people when they give them $1.
Oh my God.
That stuff drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at all the cool stuff. Look at all the good stuff I'm doing for society, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Recognition.
Yeah. And I think when I think of it just like Cameron kind of alluded to there towards the end with the expectation factor.
Yes.
If you go into relationships expecting things and doing things because you want to get something out of it, to me it's kind of it's a little bit shady. Now, if there's obviously agreements to stuff, like there's a certain level of expectation there, but like when you're talking about, your kids and your wife and stuff, I think you free yourself up a lot if you don't expect anything in return, because then it opens you up and it allows you to be grateful for everything that you do get.
Yep.
And if your expectations for like what you want in return is that they should be giving you just as much as you give or more or whatever it may be, then your expectations rob you of the happiness of all the things they do. So for me, that lack of I expect you to do stuff opens me up to be grateful and have gratitude towards what I do receive.
Yeah. Well, and it goes to where's your heart too. Like, do you have a servant heart, or do you have a giving heart? Is the heart right in that 100 that you're giving? Yep. As opposed to like there's a motive behind it.
I think expectations are the downfall of many relationships, to be honest. I think it's easy to, and I don't mean we're talking about marriages and just partnerships, I guess, in general, but whether you're dating or you're married or whatever is what I mean. But expectations ruin relationships. If you come home and expect the dishes to be done or expect the yard to be mowed from I guess, whatever it is, or expect things all the time, you're just setting yourself up for failure, man. I think communication is what helps that. If you expect something to be done, maybe you should communicate and ask if those things can be done instead of just expecting them to be done and being pissed when they're not.
Right.
And I think that takes a little bit of growth, and through constant communication, you'll find that. I think it's, as far as what you've said, the 50-50 I get. I think that's just it's a norm. You know, everyone expects 50-50.
Minimum mentality.
Right.
Minimum,
It's very minimum. It's very average. I think I like the 100-100. I just don't think it's practical.
Right.
I think it's easy to tell people to man up. I think it's easy to tell people to give 100% of their marriage on both sides. I think it's easy to say not to have expectations, but it's not practical. That's not what happens. I can go home right now and be like, I'm going to give 100% of my marriage, and you're going to give 100% of our marriage, and but that's not realistic. Sadly, I think that I think it needs to be moldable. I think marriages are like water, and this is me, right? I think you need to be, maybe if you're both giving 100, so you're at a 200. Right? If we're going to look at it in numbers. I'm a numbers guy. So if we're looking at it in 200, someone has a bad day, maybe you need to give 150 and they need to give 50 to make up. I think as a guy, you need to be moldable. You need to be able to support the wife in that. You can't expect someone to come in and give 100% of their energy every single day. You'll be exhausted.
Well, I think I kind of disagree with that, and only because of the mentality that we've spoke about before, and you're giving 100% at that moment. So it's not like I'm always giving 100% to my marriage. It's just that, so like when I'm in the bathroom, I'm not giving 100% to my marriage at that moment. I'm taking care of business.
You're
what I mean?
You're giving it to the toilet.
Yeah, I'm giving 100%.
Well, no.
Hopefully I'm giving 100%. If not, I'm going to be back in a few minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to finish.
Don't pitch it off, man. But and it's anything. Like, are you investing in your kids 100% of the time? No. But when I'm with my kids, I'm 100% investing in them at that time.
Okay. So that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it's all about
I don't
the
think you get
mentality.
exhausted. I think I don't know. I believe you get exhausted when you don't know what your purpose is. I believe you get exhausted when you don't have something to, like, you don't have a reason to be doing things. That's when you get tired. Like that's when it's exhausting or it's frustrating because you don't have a vision in mind for what you're accomplishing. I'm reading for I think the third time now, and we've mentioned this book a ton, 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Fantastic book.
Very good.
Everybody should. I was on the plane myself this week up to DC, or last weekend, whenever it was. And a guy behind me was like, "Hey, that's a great book. I've read it before." I was like, "Yeah, it's my third time. I'm thinking I should probably read it every year, as a married man." But there's just so many things in there that you get from it, and it's that, as we're talking about this topic, is I think where it becomes more effective is, or it can be exhausting if I'm giving 100%, but it's in the wrong language to my wife. Sure. Like if I'm speaking the wrong love language to my wife, I can feel like I'm working my ass off to make the relationship work, but she's not hearing any of it because she speaks a different language. She's not receiving what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right. So I've got to learn how I can take that same energy but make it effective to build our relationship, right? And then she can do the same for me. So we can be 100 on each other's love languages. If you haven't read the book, then that'll help clarify.
So here's where I was going with that, though. I think it's easy to put a number to it. And I am a numbers guy. I think it's easy to say, you give 100, you give 100. But what does that look like? I think everyone's 100 looks different.
Yeah.
So I think it's really about, and like you're talking about, you're putting effort into that by reading that book. So It's really about being present. And it's really about putting in the proper effort, right? Because, like you said, if you're not speaking the same language, like it's not going to work anyway. So figuring out what that language is for them, that is a phenomenal book. And I do read it once a year because it's every time I read it, I get something different out of it.
Yep.
Like, I don't even remember that,
Yep.
And I feel like as I grow, because you're as you age, and I think that's where marriages miss it too, is that you guys go through these different growth cycles as people. And if you've been together since you've been young, you're different people by the time you make it to your 30s.
Sure, absolutely.
And then it's figuring out who you guys are as a couple again and growing back together and really almost falling in love together again because you get lost in your careers and your kids. And it's easy to grow apart. To growing back together is the challenge. So, and figuring out who each other are, dating again, stuff like that. But that's figuring out what love language is that year. Because the next year it could be something totally different. You go through a job change or you have another kid, and maybe that love language doesn't look the same anymore. Maybe you're looking for something else that comforts you or whatever it is.
He talks about the same language but a different dialect.
So
that's where it could adjust. And certainly when kids come into the picture, or career changes, or you move to a different place or whatever, there's other things that come into play. But that whole in love feeling though is that I think that's where a lot of people miss it. The divorce rate is ridiculous in our country right now, and I'm not judging anybody. I promise you, I'm not. But because it's not easy. It's not easy to stay married for a long time. But I think the reason that it's a lot more common now is just because the overall mentality of our society is, I don't feel this again anymore. Right. I don't have the same feelings. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, listen, player, it ain't about the feelings at some point. It's about the commitment. It's about the decision to love your wife as an action word, not as a I love you because you make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. He talks about it, and he's like, it's about a 2-year window. You're going to have that in-love feeling, and everything's going to be awesome, and you're just so giddy, and, you can't wait to see each other, and da-da-da-da-da. I'm going to tell you, dude, I love my wife like crazy, but you get to a point where it's like you got 3 kids running around, you got 3 businesses you're trying to run, you're doing that, you got other responsibilities. You don't always feel that way, but then that's when you have, but we're called to be together. So what can I do to show my love so she feels loved, her love tank is full, and she can do the same for me if she chooses to, which typically happens more often if you do it first, right? Which goes back to the whole 100-0 thing.
Love tank. That sounds like a good hot tub company.
Ooh, the love tank.
Yeah, like that. So anyways, 2 things. So I think just sitting back listening to you guys, the 100-100, the problem with the 100-100 thing is you leave things up to perception. That's where the 100 is, and I think you touched on it a little bit. If you're expected, if the whole idea is the 100-100, then what you perceive as them giving 100% might be different than what they believe their 100% is. So the magic is in the 0. Yes. Let's be honest. So you should be doing the 100% anyways. Just as a man, it's your responsibility to handle shit. In my opinion, the 0. Because if you look at somebody that you love, that you made a commitment to, and you don't expect them to do anything, then once again, like I said earlier, you are freeing yourself up to be grateful for everything that they do. Now, expecting somebody to do nothing, like you said, sounds great, right? But it's not realistic. Like, nobody walks into a relationship and goes, I shall do everything, you do nothing.
Okay. Why's your accent change?
Is this just a certain part of the world?
Yeah, is that?
Yeah. I'm getting into character, assholes. Like,
okay.
Shut up.
I feel like this is a little stereotypical.
Yeah.
So, look, here we go.
Here we go.
I think
we're talking about race later too.
Yeah, we're going to talk about race.
Yeah, so we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
So, anyways, but I think it's up to perception. So I think the 100-100 thing's a problem. It's not realistic for one. The 100-0 is not, and I'm not down on it. I think it's a goal that you should be going after, because in other words, if you do anything, just appreciate everything that the other person does. Yeah. Just make sure that you appreciate it. That's huge. Especially, once it comes to, if it's words of affirmation, because I'm a words of affirmation kind of thing. Like, if I do some stuff around the house, the best thing my wife can do is come in there and go, dude, I appreciate that. That's freaking awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. She's acts of service. So for me, it's actually doing stuff for her, tells her. And Cameron, you know that because you and your wife are wired
we flip-flop.
Polar opposite of what me and my wife are. But the other side of it is why I believe that it's unrealistic, especially more unrealistic now than what it's been in the past, is because of our sense of entitlement. Everybody expects something for what they do. Yeah. I go pick up a piece of trash. I expect somebody to go, hey,
great job.
Good job picking up that trash. Way to go. Like, I need a cheer squad over there or something. If I show up on the field, I should get a trophy.
Or even this, if I show up on time.
Or if I show up on time, somebody should thank me.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. On the flip side of that, if you have good employees that show up on time all the time, I think should tell them, I appreciate you being on time, appreciate your dedication and your discipline. But the person that's on time should not expect their boss to thank them for doing their job.
Right.
You should not
just be their own personal expectation of themselves.
Well, that's where entitlement comes in. That's where everybody feels like they should be praised for what they do. Yeah. Now, should you? Yeah. I think if you're in a position of power or something, your people should know that you care about them.
Right.
Yeah. They should absolutely know that you care about them. But on the flip side, should those people expect you to express that all the time? No, you should not. That's where the 100-0 comes in. Stop being entitled and stop expecting somebody to give you something for every freaking thing you do. Just go work your ass off and good things will happen. Yep. Don't worry about the reward. It's coming. But it's not something like, okay, I did this today.
Well, it makes so much sense what you're saying. I'm seeing this more clearly as you're laying this out, but yeah, it truly is. If you take personal responsibility and you take ownership of the things that you are going to do, then when you do get accolades or praise or something like that, it is so much more Like, it means so much more because you didn't do it with the expectation of that.
Right.
You didn't do it like trying to get that. You just did it because you understood, like, this is what I should do. This is what I'm supposed to do. So the fact that they recognized it means even more to me than it would have if, I knew they were going to recognize it every time I did it.
Right. 100-0 requires integrity. If you can do 100-0 and put in 100 and not expect stuff out of it, that's a certain level of integrity that you have to have, which I think in today's society, we've lost a little bit. I think we've lost that integrity thing because
huge.
Now it's not as much face-to-face interaction and things of that nature. And I think it's got a little bit of a detriment to it. But that was just kind of my thing with it. Perception and entitlement are the two things that really kind of lay that out in my mind, the way that I see it.
Oh, that was perfect, man. I like that you went through all that because, I mean, that's the mindset. That's the magic of what that 100% zero means.
Magic's in the zero.
Magic is in the zero, which is pretty cool. So, and that plays out in a lot of different stuff. Yes, you got a T-shirt now.
How come nobody told me good job?
Sorry.
That was awesome.
There it is.
Way to go, JB.
Words of affirmation. Sorry, I forgot.
And so now you can rewind this and play this every single time, and you get what you need. So you just put that on repeat.
Usually I just cut out everybody but myself, but this time I'm going to listen to you guys.
Because you're talking about me.
Right?
I think it's interesting to me that people, I think it's at work, you're not expected to give 100%. Mm-hmm. You're expected to give more than 100% in a lot of areas. How efficient you work, they want 110 plus and you get a bonus, right? Mm-hmm. Well, what are you doing at home? You can't go to work and spend 40 to 60 hours a week on average attaining or sustaining, maintaining, whatever, attaining over 110% and then go at home and giving 0 or 30%. You can't expect your marriage to flourish when you're doing that. But I think it's funny to me that people will go to work and bust their ass for 40, 60 hours a week at their job.
For their boss, but not for
exactly,
their wife.
But they won't go home and do it for their wife or their kids or whatever, or hell, for themselves if you're single, What are you doing for if you're going and busting your ass for your boss, you're not doing anything for yourself or your wife or your kids, whatever your situation is, how can you expect those relationships to flourish and not die?
Yeah. I agree.
I think another point to the 100%
why
zero.
Did you raise your hand when he was talking, but you just interrupted me?
You just confirmed. That's all you were doing. You didn't say nothing.
What's your love language, Wilson? Yeah. Oh, never mind. I know. Physical touch.
No, it's not just that.
Tennis balls.
I've read that.
Oh, it's a new category.
The sixth one.
It's 6 love
Look at him. He can't even think now. He's thinking about tennis balls.
Sorry, dude.
No, I'm not. For the record. But no, I do act like a Labrador. I like to have fun and wag my tail. So, whatever. So anyway, if you get to know me, I'm smiles all the time. Usually if I'm not smiling, I'm either in deep thought or just about to pass out. But
which sometimes they just intertwine.
Yeah.
Deep thought will make you pass out.
But the point to the 100% zero, and then we'll move on, is the other thing is like what you guys were talking about is you can't control the other person's percentage. You can only control yours. So if you focus on what you can, anything else should play out. But now if it doesn't, that's where we've talked about, hey, if that relationship is not providing you anything and you've done this over and over and over and over again, then hey, bye. And that's how you should be, unless you've made a commitment. And now then you have to have a real talk. And I think that a lot of people avoid those real talks because they're so used to being on their phone on Facebook or on via text and not having a real conversation face to face like we talked about before, man to man or woman to woman or woman to man or whatever the case may be. And it's very important. So control what you can control and everything else should fall in place.
Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit in an early episode. I don't remember which one, but it just goes back to the taking responsibility thing. It goes back to looking in the mirror. And this is the hardest thing to do. And I'll speak for myself. The hardest thing to do. And I've spent years trying to get better at this, and I am better at it now, but still a lot to growth. But it's when something's not right in the relationship, let's just say the marriage relationship or a business partnership or whatever, instead of going, man, I wish they did that different, or man, I wish they did that different, or man, you didn't do this. And there may be truth to this is the hard part, is when there actually are some shortcomings, but you still go, regardless of those shortcomings, I can't control that.
Yep.
But what I can do is, what can I do better to help them want to better themselves or not have those shortcomings or whatever? So can you truly look in the mirror when you know it might not actually be your fault and go, what can I do better? How can I make myself better? If it's nothing else but an example. If it's nothing, like instead of, I can't believe they're not doing this. Well, how about you just do some more of it and maybe it'll inspire them. You know, that's the hard part, and that's why it's so difficult for people to give that 100.
It goes back to what O was talking about, though. The difference between simple and easy, they are vastly different. Yeah. It's a simple concept, but it's not easy because the problem is it's not difficult, but it's easier not to. It's easier to point the finger at the other person in the relationship and say, well, we wouldn't be arguing right now if you didn't do this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. It's easier to do that than it is to self-reflect and go, you know what, I got some things that I can fix, and then I can pray for them or just create the example and stuff like that. So yeah,
well, the other thing that sucks is you don't want to be the one that is wrong. I mean, it's just that's just nature, human nature. I don't want to be the one that was wrong.
Yeah,
but you are. Sorry, we all are.
Me and my wife are very good about what's the word I'm looking for here? Being submissive to each other.
Yeah,
I know you can't. It's hard to sense sarcasm in audio, but
that's why I said yes so softly. I'm like, yeah, I don't recall that, but
that's something like. I mean, we have healthy arguments that are solution seeking arguments and stuff like that, but both of us struggle with the submissive side of things. And I think it's important, like with the 100-0, to learn how to submit to your significant other. In that situation, I think there's a few areas of your life where you should be submissive. You should be submissive to your counsel, to the people that you're taking mentorship from. In my opinion, I think you should be submissive to God. And then I think you should be submissive to your wife. That doesn't mean be a doormat, but it means be submissive.
It's the difference between suppressed and submissive.
Sometimes you have to protect the relationship by going, I'm okay with a lose-win here. I'll take the loss. I'll take the loss because I value our relationship enough to.
Plus, I just want to stop fighting.
Yeah. Right. plus, it's 3:00 in the morning.
I'll just say I'm wrong.
You know what? Isn't that funny how that works? It's like always at 2, 3 o'clock, like you're ready to go to sleep, and then we have a serious conversation, and it's like, do we have to have this conversation right now? Oh yeah, I get it. Yeah, but then in our house, it comes up 2 or 3 days later, and then we have a 3:00 in the morning conversation on a 2 or 3 day old topic. I'm like, dude, I forgot. Now she's gotten better because we've grown from there to where she does it at the same day, but it's at the end of the day.
Go ahead and call me out like when it happens.
Yeah, right.
We're more likely to come to a solution.
Yeah, most cases I know. I'm like, yeah, I put my foot in my mouth. Or it was something that we just disagreed on, and she's still adamant about her point of view. So it's like, we're just probably gonna have to agree to disagree.
See, that's where I benefit because my wife is very proactive. She calls me out on stuff I haven't even done yet.
Crap, you gonna do tomorrow?
She's like, I know that. Look, and you're about to do something stupid, aren't you? And I'm like, are we really gonna argue about this before I even make the mistake?
Yeah, at least let me screw up first.
Let me mess up. Dang. No, yeah, it's yeah, dude. Relationships are fun though. When you have fun with it,
yes.
And like we talked about, have a sense of humor. Like one of the things that I have struggled with in the past is being egotistical in a relationship. Like as a man, I'm supposed to be the alpha in the house and stuff like that, but. Like, you should be the alpha. But as the alpha, if you are a secure alpha, you don't have to get pissed at everything that's said. Like,
well, that's real maturity.
Right.
Like, that's not like, I'm not just, I rule this, you do this, you do that, everybody listen to me. That's stupid. Yeah. I mean, if you're an actual real man, then you're gaining input from the other members of the family, from your wife specifically. And you're adjusting, to those personalities and those relationships as needed. So, yeah.
I think the biggest thing is that it's not necessarily I am the alpha; it's we are the pack, right?
Freaking T-shirt making joke.
I think that's a real thing, and that's something I've relayed to my team at work. Is that guys? It's not necessarily I am the manager; it's we are the team. Right. So it's just a translation into marriage, right? Yeah. Is that I think it's okay to recognize yourself as that. And puff your chest out a little bit when you're saying it, but ultimately it's like you're talking about submitting, to your wife and vice versa. It's not necessarily I'm the alpha; it's we're the pack.
We don't want it to be top heavy, right? I mean, like your organization. This is one of the things in the corporate world. I mean, outside of the relationship, because there are relationships there that ends up messing a lot of people up. Is the fact that they're top heavy. You have everything in a centralized control where all the decisions are being made from a small little core group, and it's all top heavy. And you don't have those relationships at the lower level that have built the base of the company from the bottom up and got buy-in from the people that are in it. Like you said, we are the pack, kind of thing. Like I have zero desire to be the end all be all in everything that we're doing. I'll give you guidelines and I'll give you expectations of results. Mm-hmm. Your opportunity of getting there is on you. You figure that part out. Now, I will adjust the guardrails based on your maturity, but ultimately I'm not your dad. I don't want to sit here and tell you everything that you need to do, So, I mean, I think once you come to relationship stuff like that, you have to give people that enough rope to hang themselves, for lack of better words.
And ultimately, you got to remember, why the relationship's important to you. I mean, when it ultimately comes down to it, like, is it going to be easy to do some of these things we're talking about? No, we've already discussed that. But is it worth it? Yeah, I mean, it's your freaking wife, or it's your kids, or it's your business partner, or there's or it's your best friend, or it's whatever it is. It's your parents. There's something there that is valuable, or it was at one point. Like, is it worth approaching it with a little different mentality of how much am I investing? Mm-hmm. Of course, and that's really it's kind of like the goal or the dream. Like, what's the dream? To have this as a valuable relationship continually in my life,
Absolutely. Awesome. So this is good stuff, guys, and thank you guys for tuning in. I really want to implore you to give us feedback. Like, literally, if you know us personally, shoot us up at text. Hey, dude, listen to this. Really like this. Hey, could you talk about this? What's your perspective on that? And if it's something that we don't need to dedicate an entire podcast to, we just talk to you directly. That's great. But reach out. Join us on our website at shepherdsof.men. We've got some really cool stuff that's coming out in the future that's going to be beneficial to you. If you're wanting to become a reader, we have a recommended book list that comes off of that. We have a lot of different things that we are growing as a community, and we are hearing your voices, because like what O said on the previous podcast is that we're going to have our ladies on here to give you a ladies' perspective, because our following is not just men. We actually have women and men listening to us, and we appreciate every one of you to support the movement, because it takes all of us to make a change. And that's what we're looking to do, is make a change in society as a world view of what men are supposed to be like, and to celebrate our differences, to celebrate ourselves and our successes, and not demean everybody because they're better than you or gotten something more than you. Quit judging yourself and judging everybody else based off, different merits. Just focus on you. Become the best that you can be. Go become and make a difference.